Thanks for letting me stay on with your crew, Captain. I plan to be a very generous queen to all my friends.
I can see we're gonna get along just fine, your high exaltedness.
Don't start with that. Risha will do fine. For now. Every captain needs a good first mate. Corso doesn't know what it takes to run a starship. But I do. Considering the light years you've been racking up, I suggest a hyperdrive overhaul and a sublight engine tune-up. Which do you want first?
We're always in a hurry. See if you can squeeze some extra thrust from the engines.
Consider it done. I'll be indispensable before you know it. Bet you were surprised to see I can hold my own in a fight. I'm pretty good with a blaster. My father taught me to shoot when I was 4 years old.
Sounds like Nock didn't give you much of a childhood.
Are you kidding? His lieutenants were terrified of me. They let me do whatever I wanted. Father wanted me self-sufficient as early as possible. Said I'd need it to survive. He was right. I still remember the day he told me he was going to sleep for a while. Said I was on my own.
Tell me he at least gave you credits before he froze himself into carbonite.
He wasn't the greatest father in the galaxy, but he planned ahead. Gave me a blaster, a starship, and plenty of credits. I was 11. Made my first solo hyperspace jump and flew to Dantooine. Father had a hideout there. Talk about your one bantha planets. For a few years, Dantooine's population was doubled thanks to me and Father frozen in carbonite.
You talk a lot about Nock, but you've never mentioned your mother.
She died when I was young. I don't remember her. Looking back, I should have been miserable. But it was just a big adventure. Speaking of which, we're overdue for some more excitement. What do you say we get back to our latest caper? Sometimes I can't believe you actually got back my crown. Do you know how many spacers died looking for it? Don't take this the wrong way, but when we first met, I thought you'd end up like all the others.
I'll always beat the odds. You can count on that.
Why do you think I stayed with you? I'm hoping some of that luck rubs off. What I'm really saying is, thanks. I wouldn't be where I am without you.
I never leave an unhappy customer. Except for Rogan the Butcher. He doesn't count.
You can't please everyone. Anyway, didn't mean to slow us down. I'm sure we have plenty to do. I think I figured out why we get along so well, Captain. We're both restless people. It's how we survive. Trouble loves us, and we just keep on moving. Eventually, Trouble gets tired of following and gives up.
There's always more trouble where that came from.
Exactly. Isn't it wonderful? There wasn't nearly enough trouble growing up on Dantooine. After being a crime lord's daughter, sitting around got dull real quick. I had a big library of holo recordings from my father, but I could only watch them so many times.
Never figured Nock for the sentimental type. He left you a bunch of holos dispensing his life's wisdom?
If by wisdom you mean teaching me how to become a criminal, then yes. He was a good teacher. Very detail-oriented. By the time I was 14, I'd had enough. I buried Father's carbonite chamber someplace safe and hit the hyperlanes with a new identity. Those were good times. I met Duran and Adila, got mixed up with Beryl Thorne, lived a life of crime.
Every time I see some idiot scrubbing tables at a cantina, I think of how lucky I am.
Normal jobs are for people who aren't smart enough to earn a real living. I'm starting to enjoy these chats, but I'm feeling restless. Let's go find some trouble. I envy you, Captain. You'll always be free to do as you please. That all changes for me, once I'm a queen.
The Brilliant is getting along fine without you. Do what makes you happy.
Ruling a planet has its perks. I should at least give it a try. I've studied records about the Drayan dynasty. They started from humble beginnings, distinguished themselves as war heroes, officially anyway. In reality, they backstabbed their way to power just like every other ruler. Some were better at it than others.
Why didn't Nock make his own play for the throne? He was king of the backstab.
He knew recovering the crown was essential to establishing legitimate rule. It's not enough to conquer a world, you have to hold it too. Father had his failings, but he inspired loyalty. Whenever he defeated a rival gangster, he always freed the enemy slaves. He gave them a choice: join him or take their chances elsewhere. No recriminations for anyone who left. The rest became family.
Interesting way to recruit new talent. How many slaves actually signed on?
Those people had a lot of anger issues. Most were excited to have a job that let them express it. There was this one little Twi'lek girl who joined us. Best thief I ever met. Got into all sorts of trouble together. We were like sisters, but when Father's organization collapsed, we got separated. I never found out what happened to her.
No news is good news. She's probably enjoying an early retirement somewhere.
I like to think so. You're really bringing out my chatty side today. That usually means I need to get some exercise. Let's find something more exciting to do than stand around. I'm reviewing the holovids of Debrillion. Beautiful planet. Amazing oceans and forests. One of these days I'll have to see it in person.
Why wait? Give me the coordinates. I'll have us there by dinner time.
Throttle down, Captain. Don't you think I'd have visited by now if I could? Father warned me to stay away from that planet before he went into hibernation. The spaceport has genetic scanners keyed to the Draen bloodline. The King's doing everything in his power to keep me away. I'm not taking over without inside help. Until then, I have the holovids. If I'm going to take over Debrillion, I can't keep looking for allies in the same old places. The scum of the galaxy isn't as useful when you're stealing a throne. I need a better class of accomplices.
You can't steal anything big without some corrupt officials on your payroll.
There are some interesting rumors out of Debrillion. Turns out the aristocracy is unhappy with the king. Some nobles are secretly rebelling.
Taxes are the leading cause of rebellions. I bet that's the problem.
You have such a wonderfully simple view of politics. It terrifies me how often you're right. Debrillion is turning into another Alderaan. A new queen could prevent that, assuming she had the aristocracy's support. But that means taking this game to a new level. You up for that?
I've dealt with Hutts. A bunch of prancing nobles doesn't scare me.
What if we have to prance with them? Do you even own prancing shoes? I've put out feelers to some key Debrillion nobles. When one of them bites, be ready to pounce. In the meantime, we have plenty of other business to keep us occupied. My search for allies in Debrillion's aristocracy has been interesting. Got an offer from a lesser baron. What a piece of work. Guy must think I'm an idiot. Took 2 minutes to verify he's a spy for the king. He was baiting me into a trap.
If the information was that easy to find, maybe the baron's being set up.
My sources are solid. The king keeps underestimating my intelligence. I'd feel sorry for him if he wasn't trying to kill me. I sent the spy a phony meeting request from Nar Shaddaa. He's sending friends to help me. They're in for a surprise. Couple of Hutts owe me a favor. They promised to record the whole thing. I'll send the king a copy. Never thought I'd say this, but you're my favorite partner in crime. You make beating the odds look easy, Captain.
It would look even easier if I wasn't saving your neck all the time.
Oh, I'm your handicap? I don't think so. I've definitely learned a few dirty tricks from watching you work. Think I might have found a few of my own. We'll find out at our next death-defying showdown. I can't wait. You probably think I'm chasing Debrillion's throne to get rich, don't you?
Credits are just a means to an end. You must want all that money for something.
I've seen what bad leadership does to a place. Alderaan, Nar Shaddaa, even Coruscant. They all suffer because of who's in power. I'm not looking to plunder Debrillion. I want to make it better, run their society the right way.
From everything I've heard about your homeworld, it could use someone decent in charge.
Never thought of myself as decent before. Maybe I can sell that. Every successful leader has the same strength. They're perceived as generous by their subjects. Give the people just enough of what they want, and they'll leave you alone. That's something the King of Debrillion doesn't understand.
For a second, I thought I was seeing a whole new side of you. False alarm.
I'm just saying what everyone else is thinking. Nothing wrong with that. I can make this work. It's all about negotiation, and I'm good at that. I'm just thinking out loud now. We should get back to business. The longer I spend here, the more it feels like home. I'm even starting to appreciate Corso. Must be coming down or something. Promise me you'll visit often when I'm Queen of Debrillion.
I'll visit so often you'll have to build an extra wing onto the palace.
Why not? How about a private landing pad to go with it? It'd be nice to sneak away with you for the occasional break. Go someplace dangerous. Steal something expensive. Mock the bad guys. When you think about it, being queen of a planet provides the perfect alibi. We should take advantage of that. Guess who found a potential accomplice in the Dubrillian aristocracy? Feast your eyes on this hollow-embossed, genuine flimsoplast invitation. See that fancy Arabesh lettering? Hand-drawn, in ink, classy. Count Merritt Reneld requests the favor of your presence at a discreet location in the Galactic Senate Tower on Coruscant at a time of your choosing.
Does that invitation say why Baron Fancy Pants needs a face-to-face? Why can't he talk to you by holo?
Nobles are like gangsters. They won't crew with someone they've never met in person. Count Reneld is one of the most popular nobles on Dubrillion. He's also secretly organizing a rebellion against the king. His invitation is addressed to Risha Drayan, royal heir to the Drayan dynasty. He's taking me very seriously.
The Count sounds like the kind of accomplice you need to overthrow the king.
I'm contacting him by holo to arrange our meeting. Wanted you here to help me get a read on him. Opening a channel. Whoa.
This is a tremendous moment, your royal heiress. I grew up hearing tales of the Drayan dynasty, the great battles your ancestors fought. I never believed I'd meet a member of that proud bloodline in person. You have my deepest sympathies for your family's exile.
Risha wants back into Dubrillion politics. You can make that happen, right?
You must be the starship captain who recovered the crown of Dubrillion. My world is in your debt.
The king wants that crown, and my head. He won't be happy if he finds out we're talking.
The man has lost all reason. He must be removed from power, but in a way that spares our world a bloody civil war. I believe the common people and aristocracy alike would embrace the Drayan dynasty heir, especially if she wears the crown of Dubrillion.
I doubt your current ruler will abdicate just because Risha has a better hat.
The king's power base is already unstable. It will crumble under the right pressure. Right now, you are an outsider. The only way to change that is to marry someone from the existing aristocracy.
Get married? To who?
Well, the only available suitor is... Great stars, this is awkward. I am offering myself in marriage to you.
This guy doesn't beat around the bantha. How do you want to play this?
You could have at least sent flowers, Count.
I understand my proposal is abrupt, but I wished to make my intentions clear and not waste your valuable time. I certainly don't expect an immediate response. All I ask is that you consider this for the good of Dubrillion.
That'll be easier to do once we've met in person. I'm on my way to Coruscant. See you there, Count. Well, that wasn't awkward at all.
That was the worst blind date ever. You've known this guy all of 2 minutes and he proposes marriage? Crazy.
This isn't romance, it's just politics. Under the circumstances, I should probably take this meeting alone. Be back soon, Captain. Never talked to a complete stranger for that long before. Count Reneld gives to charities, builds orphanages, creates wildlife preserves, and those are just his hobbies. You ever consider we've been wasting our lives?
I do everything for one reason. To get rich. It's straightforward, easy to remember, and works amazingly well most of the time.
Ah, the simple life. Anyway, I left the negotiations open. I told the Count I needed time to think about his proposal. That'll give me a chance to run a deep background check. If this guy is as good as he seems, he just might help me overthrow the king without getting married. Count Reneld is a man of his word. He sends me daily updates about his rebellion's progress. Incredibly sweet, beautifully written updates. I knew taking Dubrillion's throne would be a challenge, but this is getting complicated. Merritt's every bit the man he appears to be. Even the dirt I've dug up on him turned out clean.
I can't wait to hear what skeletons are rattling around his royal closet.
He stole the crown jewels when he was 5, got a slap on the wrist, and he's been clean ever since. Seriously. Nothing about this guy triggers warning bells. When it comes to husbands, I could do a lot worse. I'll stop bothering you. I needed to talk, and you're the only person who understands me.
I'm always here if you need me.
I'm sure there's trouble somewhere with our name on it. What do you say we go take all its credits? I was prepared for almost anything if it meant becoming queen. Foiling assassination attempts, fighting wars, bunking on this ship for years. Just kidding. Marrying the Count was never part of the plan. Can I really do that?
Never back yourself into a corner, I always say. The Count seems nice right now, but someday he'll be fat and old.
The medtechs on Dubrillion can work miracles. I've seen 80-year-olds passing for 20. That's what I plan to do. Ugh. I hadn't even thought about producing heirs. Not that he wouldn't be a great father. This conversation's officially given me a headache. Let's go do something outrageous. Things on Dubrillion have taken a turn. The Kings put a death mark on Count Renald's head. When the citizens heard that, they rebelled. The King imposed martial law to stop the rioting. But that got the aristocracy riled up. The whole planet's going to war.
Where do the other nobles stand? Are they with the Count or the King?
Some support Count Renald. Others remain loyal to the King. They're all looking to benefit from the fight. Needless to say, the Count has his hands full just staying alive. But even with all that's happened, he still wants to marry me. I can't keep putting him off. Any advice how I should play this?
Forget about the politics for a second. Do you love this guy or not?
I barely know him. This isn't about love. I need to figure out what's best for my long-term plans. Oh, perfect. Time's up. That's him calling on the Hollow. All right. Let's do this. Merritt, I'm glad you're safe. From what I hear, the fighting got worse after you escaped.
I cannot spare Dubrillion from war, but perhaps we can still create a better future together. I realize forging a true relationship takes time, and our marriage won't be consummated for some time, but I am hopeful. My proposal stands, dear Risha. Will you marry me?
This man could be dead tomorrow. Even if he lives, who knows what the politics of Dubrillion will be like when the war ends? The best thing you can do is stay independent. It's always worked for me.
Merritt, I feel like we're rushing into things. We should take our time. For the good of Dubrillion.
You're absolutely right. Let us part as friends. Farewell, Risha. May the stars watch over you.
That ended better than I expected. Except for that whole part with my world being at war.
You'll be Queen of Dubrillion someday.
I'll have my throne if I have to build it myself. That's enough politics and relationship issues for one day. Let's go steal something expensive. I always feel better after a good caper. I've been getting reports on the war for Dubrillion. It's dragging into a stalemate. Nobody has a clear advantage yet. I want to get more involved with the war effort, but my allies tell me the best thing I can be is a symbol.
What are you supposed to represent?
I don't know. Some nonsense about New Hope. The minute I open my mouth and start talking politics, I risk losing support. I can't afford that right now. Guess I'm stuck on the sidelines until it's over. At least I have company. I've been thinking about the future a lot lately, and I had a funny realization. Every scenario I see, you're in it. I've never let myself get close to anyone. Not even my friends from the old days. But you're more than a friend. You're the closest thing I have to family.
Right back at you, Risha.
I don't know what the future holds for us, but I promise to always be there. Not just for you, but everyone you care about. That's as mushy as I'm getting. Back to finding trouble.